Good morning, if Guy can click the button. It is Friday, weekly wrap-up, and we're on Blab Live with my good friend Kelvin from Cambridge University. Yeah, that one. You know, the famous one? He didn't. They said, you could work at Joe's University or you could work at Cambridge. And he decided, yeah, Cambridge.
Cambridge. Yeah. Number one.
Good choice. Good choice. And they just opened a new building. And if you don't know what's that guy's name? Maxwell?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the new physics building at Cambridge University is named after the scientist name of Maxwell. And if you're not familiar with that guy, Google it. You'll be amazed. Like, why didn't I learn about him in school? Because he's really quite sharp knocking the door. But let's get to it. The Friday weekly wrap-up. And today's show, we're going to talk about what we did this week. And there'll be a pearl in the oyster. Stay tuned. The Monday show, we talked about two things that Ali Luke wrote a thing about you're unintentionally sabotaging your blog chances for success if you're doing these things. And he's got a list of tips and the cures and the fixes that he suggests in the article that he wrote. And it's on ProBlogger.net. We'll have the link in the show notes at theguyercookreport.podbean.com. Later on in the show, you can go check those out. The other link was from NPR, and it was just simply a catalog of all the many different podcasts that they've got for the show. There's the link there, theguyercookreport.podbean.com. That'll have the links for every episode that we're going to talk about today, Monday through Thursday. On Tuesday, we did SEO tips, and I had a link in there from Coach Debbie Runs, which is a really good, well-done 10 tips for beginners. If you're just getting started out in SEO, those SEO tips and the ones from the easy search engine optimization tips for beginners, that's going to help you out quite a bit. And then we talked about our social shares the same as links. In a word, no, they're not. Okay, you can set up a campaign to do social shares, but you should still do some link building. And those are discussed in the Tuesday show notes with some good resources there. Wednesday, we announced the big WordPress announcement of Coleman is the code name for WordPress 4.5. It's out. We have the link there to the features of the new WordPress, including the inline linking, formatting shortcuts, and so forth. I think there's there's 8 of them. And then I did a screenshot, shows you what it looks like when you upgrade your WordPress. I encourage you to do that. And on the subject of software upgrades, attention if you own Windows computer. If you have got QuickTime from Apple, uninstall it. Apple released a CERT announcement, CERT, Charlie Echo Romeo Tango, and it said, if you've got this, you want to take it off because we're not going to make it secure anymore. Just like Windows XP, they took away the updates. The same thing happened to that. And so Apple's come out and said, don't have it anymore. So there, Wednesday. On Thursday, the B2B show yesterday, we sort of did a shameless plug on website proposals. My company, Vitamine Hosting, Inc., and I read through the 6 items that we covered, and then I sort of threw Kelvin under the bus, as it were. Said, well, what do you think? And he wasn't really ready for the question, but he goes, now that I think about it, I think you pretty much covered them all. I said, well, good. I was hoping I did a good job on that. So be sure and take a look at those show note links there. And that brings us to the best part of the show, which is the shout-outs, which means thank God they're almost done. Big thank you to Edinburgh Dusters, Fraser Ramsey, who's busy walking right now to make, I guess, his name more famous as a walker. He got whooped once. Kevin Scullion took him to the mat. It was pretty bad. So now he's competing against Don over at Blab Cafe, and they're having a walkathon. Last report I got was that Don has eclipsed Fraser's efforts at walking, so I guess they're both pacing it off because today's Friday. So the other note, ready with the other graphic, is a big shout out, thank you to Blab. And if you're on Blab, look for this icon, Friends Just Chatting. That's where we're at Monday through Friday, just chatting with our friends. Can't be simpler, right? Thanks to Alba Digital Media. Kevin Scullion is the owner of that. And they're albadigitalmedia.com. That's where you want to ask your questions about hardware, software, web design, web hosting, etc., etc. It's a full meal deal, a one-stop shop. And so I thanked Blab. Oh, and thank you to YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube, be sure and subscribe to our channel. That little link up there on the top says subscribe. It's going to be in the show notes with the link there, a bit.ly link for bit.ly, which is bit.ly, one of those link shorteners. You can hear us on Stitcher Radio. You can hear us on Spreaker. You can hear us on Podbean, theguyercookreport.podbean.com. And by virtue of being on Podbean, we're also automatically on iTunes. So if your Apple device supports iTunes, many of them do, then you can hear us there. And like I just mentioned a bit ago, we're on YouTube. We're on the Online Services blog where I keep the show notes, and those notes all have the Geyer Cook Report evaluation question, which is a simple yes-no question that asks, and we'd appreciate your feedback on that. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you to everybody that's in the chat joining us. And on that note, I can just about guarantee you that it's time to say those 3 magic words. Oh, did I forget anything?
Didn't we discuss you were going to mention Screencast-O-Matic?
Oh, yeah, right. Well, there's been some issues with getting copies of the show, right? So what we're doing right now is we're simultaneously recording this at blab.am, as well as the Screencast-O-Matic software. Thank you, Eileen Smith. A little shout out there for Eileen. That gives us the ability to record the show right now live as we're doing it. So it's Screencast-O-Matic, just like it sounds, .com. And we'll try to have that link in the show notes in the coming episodes, because we're going to keep using that tool. It works very well. So on that note, I've got to say what I was just about to hint at. Thank you for that reminder, Kelvin. Have a good weekend, and tell Emily hi. So at that note, it's a wrap.